You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Vito and Vito here with a very special friend of the show. He's got an uphill battle ahead of him, but I'm sure he's going to pull it off. Jeff Deal, running against Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. He's a state representative. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Hey, Vito and Vito. Nice to talk to you. Thanks so much for having me on.
What's up, buddy? It's great to have you on. Tell us why, first of all, you're running against Elizabeth Warren. It seems to be like a very tough battle, but why would you run against her, and then do you think you got a chance?
Well, first of all, I think everybody knows what Elizabeth Warren stands for. She's, for moving our country further to the left. She's trying to take over the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democrat Party, and she wants single-payer health care. She wants free college for everyone, no skin in the game. She is for open borders, making sure that people come in here illegally, and she's all for sanctuary cities. Look, the fact of the matter is, in Massachusetts, she's done nothing for our state for 4.5 years. She's written 2 books in office while she's been serving for as U.S. Senator. She made $1.6 million for herself, but has delivered nothing to our state. So I've been serving in the Massachusetts legislature for 7 years. I have a history of saving tax dollars for people here in our state. In fact, I was a leader of a ballot question which repealed an indexed gas tax. Our gas tax would have gone up every year automatically without a vote, and we ended up saving $2 billion with that ballot question. So, look, I have a track record of making sure I work for the people of our state. She doesn't, and she now wants to run for president in 2020. She wants people to reelect her in 2018 so she can do nothing for Massachusetts for 2 more years. So I'm looking forward to a campaign where not only do we win, but we also try to get things done in Washington. No more finger pointing, no more yelling at each other. Let's actually work for the American people for a change.
Well, Jeff, what has she done? Because now you're a state representative, so you understand the importance of constituency services. What has she done for the state of Massachusetts as senator? What has she been able to do for the people of Massachusetts? Has she done anything, or she had just been a roadblock towards success of that great state?
Well, not only will she not have a voice down in Washington or a seat at the table because of all the obstruction of the president and his administration, but here in Massachusetts, she's done nothing for 4 years, like I said before, even when Obama was president. And I'll put it to you this way. There was a guy named John McDonald. He runs Veterans Assisting Veterans out of Lowell, Massachusetts. He tried to contact her a few months ago, made state news, then he made it to Fox Television because it took her 113 days before some staffer from her office contacted this veteran to try to help somebody else and never even addressed the issue they were asking for help on. So she's made news that way as far as not helping. Then there's this fishing problem down in New Bedford, one of our big fishing capitals. One of the fishermen there owns about 42 federal fishing licenses. He was exceeding a catch limit on cod. He was embezzling money out of the country. And right now, the state of Maine is trying to get Massachusetts' those fishing licenses out of our state. We're trying to keep them in New Bedford because it's 241 fishermen whose lives and their families' income depend on this. She's done nothing to try to intervene and keep those in our state. So those are just two concrete examples. But then she also voted last year against a bill called the 21st Century Cures Act, which basically increased funding for research hospitals to try to find cures for things like cancer. It included Joe Biden, the vice president's cancer moonshot funding in there. And President Obama passed it. Republicans passed it. But she was one of the few votes against it and the only vote for Massachusetts against it. And we ended up getting $12 million in funding to fight the opioid crisis in Massachusetts through the 21st Century Cures Act, yet she was one of a handful of people that decided that she would try to raise her own profile by voting against it. So, again, the people of Massachusetts, they've seen enough with her. There was a poll that came out in January putting her at 46% unfavorable, 44% favorable. It's pretty unheard of because that radio station, WBUR, is an NPR affiliate on the BU campus, no conservative radio station at all, and yet those people that were listening, liberal Democrats, don't like what Elizabeth Warren's doing or not doing, and that's why I think we have a great shot of winning in November of 2018.
So, Jeff, how do you intend to get Democrats onto your side to win? I mean, it's going to be hard. Us from New York, we have to deal with this issue time and time again, and really, you got to somehow reach out to the middle and try to pull some moderate Democrats over to your side, because the left has gotten extremely out of control. They've gotten more and more fanatical. They've gotten more and more crazy and extreme. And Republicans are the only ones standing up saying, well, what about the future of this country? What about the good old traditional American values, the Democratic Party, the values the Democratic Party used to follow? So, here in New York, I always stress the candidates that we try to help out to go all the way to the right and stand and draw the contrast and show voters that you're not a wishy-washy Republican, but that you're a staunch Republican. You're someone who stands up for the values and you're unapologetic. So my question to you, Jeff, is how do you intend to bridge a pathway to victory? This way you can see yourself in that Senate seat.
Well, Vito, that's a great question. I'll tell you, again, I have the track record of that. So when I was chairman of the ballot question to repeal the gas tax in Massachusetts, I was told by my own Republican leadership, don't do this, it's a career killer, you'll never get this to pass. And when we ended up getting that ballot question to win, we were outspent by $3 million. It was grassroots across the state that stood up against Massachusetts, and we ended up repealing that thing. It was going to be the only tax that would go up automatically without a vote. We're the state that started no taxation without representation, for gosh sakes. Mm-hmm. So, I stood on my principles, and we ended up winning that, and we won 53-47. It wasn't a Republican issue. It wasn't a Democrat issue. It was an issue that all people, middle to low-income families, we hurt the most. It was an issue that everybody cared about. And I'll tell you, the next thing, I forgot to mention, so as soon as I did that, I was taken off of the Ways and Means Committee in Massachusetts by my own Republicans. Then a few months later, Boston 2024 said that the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics, wanted to come to Massachusetts. Maybe we were part of the bid process. Well, I knew that the average overrun for the Olympics is about $10 billion. London went from $5 billion to $15 billion, and that's been the track record for a long time. Montreal, they just paid off their bonds a few years ago for the '76 Olympics. So it's incredibly expensive for cities or states to handle. And so I ended up, again, working with an independent who would run for governor to block that. I filed language in the House to stop it. And when I did that, my own Republicans took me off the Transportation Committee I was sitting on when I asked our Transportation Secretary. So, look, my point is this. I'm going to go to Washington. I'm going to be an independent voice for everybody. But it's not just independent. It's conservative, because I've always stood on those principles when I first ran for office. And right now, we need to make sure, not just in Massachusetts, but across the country, in New York, that we have a country that's making sure companies stay here and not go overseas, taking those jobs with them to China or other places. We got to make sure that we have secure borders so that we don't have illegal immigrants coming in. In Massachusetts, $1.8 billion of our annual budget, a $40 billion budget, goes towards funding services for people here illegally. That money could be going towards veterans, towards housing for people who are homeless, towards their schools that right now are having trouble funding, each year to year. So the point is, a good conservative is going to stand up and try to fight, all this ridiculous spending and also policy that doesn't help Americans. I'm willing to do that not just in the Beacon Hill legislature up here in Massachusetts, but also down in Washington.
Well, I mean, you got a national audience here, and we want to do our best to help you win, Jeff. I got to ask you some tough questions because if you're going to be a senator, well, you're going to be a senator in Massachusetts. We're stuck with Chuck Schumer, so good luck with that. But if you're going to be the senator of Massachusetts, one of the senators of Massachusetts, I have to ask you, where do you stand on DACA and illegal immigration? The president seems to be waffling on this issue, and I want to see some bold leadership come out of Washington and a bunch of opposition to the president if he does decide to waver on DACA and if he does decide to waver on the wall. Do you stand with the wall? Do you stand with the American people? Do you stand with the American people when they voted in November not to elect open borders but to elect a closed, secure border and our country back? Do you support those initiatives, Jeff?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I was the co-chair for Massachusetts for the Trump campaign in 2016. We ended up winning a huge primary in the state, biggest margin till he hit New York, his home state. And it was because, and by the way, we got 20,000 Democrats to unenroll and vote for Trump in that primary. So look, I stood with him then, especially on the issues of immigration and building that wall, absolutely. And when it comes to DACA, look, that was illegal. What the president did. Congress is supposed to determine immigration law. They've been kicking this can down the road for years. It should be in Congress's hands. I like what Trump said. You got 6 months to finish this or to fix it, or it's done. And I agree. Look, those people, need to. By the way, why haven't they applied for citizenship in all these years of being here? They came here illegally. They had all this time to try to get themselves naturalized. That's the step they're supposed to be taking. And that's the way it was done over 100 years ago. You used to have to know the language, have a sponsor, have a job. In fact, if Americans want to go to other countries and live there, you got to show that you've got a certain amount of assets. You can't just go over there and be dependent on their country. And yet that's the way it works in the United States and in Massachusetts. We need to fix that. I'm going to absolutely try to get other Republicans to start helping this president so that he doesn't have to cut deals with the Democrats as far as, wavering on this. I'm really counting on him staying strong on this issue, and I want to go down there to be a part of making sure that he gets the support he needs.
All right, cool, Jeff. Now, I got to ask you this question. I don't know if you ever got this question asked on the campaign trail before, but I have to ask you this question. If you had to pick some type of caucus in the Senate, if it's the more conservative, group, or would you fit yourself in the more moderate group, or would you even betray us and head over to the blue Democrat group? Where would you powwow with? Who would you discuss strategy with? Because this stuff always interests me. We used to have some elected officials here in New York who went over to Washington, claimed to be conservative Tea Party members, and then they got to Washington and they betrayed the voters. So give us where do you stand when it comes down to that sort of conservative spectrum?
Yeah, well, look, I've always been a backbencher in Massachusetts. Here we've got a super majority of Democrats in the House and Senate, so I serve in the House. I'm in the minority party, and then I'm in the minority of the minority party because I don't just go along to get along. And that's what it's all about. Look, guys like Jeff Flake drive me crazy as far as, getting into office and then, you've got a secure seat like Arizona. You should use that Senate seat to actually be strong and firm on conservative ideals, not, turn around and backstab the president, in my opinion. So for me, guys like Rand Paul, those guys like Ted Cruz, those are the kind of guys that I want to make sure we keep pushing, Kate Sloth, trying to cut away sanctuary cities. That's the kind of stuff I support and I want to continue to support. And look, Scott Brown won in Massachusetts when he was the 41st vote against Obamacare. And he stood, true when he was running about that. And he was right. Obamacare hasn't saved us any money. Has anybody got that $2,500 savings? No. And so he was right about that. Massachusetts will vote fiscally, for someone who will stand up for them. And for me, he only got 2 years in office. I would get 6 years to really build on that Republican seat and make sure that we start turning Massachusetts and Washington in the right direction.
And that's what we like to hear. Jeff, where can we go to help you with this campaign? Because we want you in office. We want you to defeat Elizabeth Warren and the Democratic machine. We love where you stand. We love that you're for your principles, and we want to help you. Where do we go to donate and to tweet and share all your stuff and drive as much traffic and attention to you as possible?
Well, the first place to go is dealforsenate.com, which is DIEHLFOR, Senate, SENATE.com. You can go there to get a bumper sticker if you want to show it off in New York. That's fine. If you got friends in Massachusetts, let them know they should go there too. You can donate. The other thing, too, is we created a Facebook page, Where's Warren, and a Twitter page for Where's Warren, because Elizabeth Warren has spent more time out of Massachusetts than she has been helping the state. She was in Georgia for that Netroots convention a few weeks ago, where the agenda was all about how to resist at the state level, the local level, the federal level. You know, this woman basically has been running around, you know, trying to stop the president from working for Americans. She actually went, when she was doing her book tour, on one of those talk shows in New York City and said that anybody who voted for Trump was part of an ugly stew of racists. She went to an NAACP dinner and said that law enforcement continues to terrorize the African-American community. She's not for trying to bring us together as a country and start working together. She's constantly about dividing us and then trying to raise her own image. So they can go to that website, dealforsenate.com, to get involved and help donate, because we're going to need a lot of help, just like Scott Brown did back in 2010. We can win this thing, and when we do, you're going to really enjoy seeing how it worked out in Washington.
I love it. What was that website again for Where's Warren? What was that one called?
Yeah, you got a Twitter page, Where's Warren, and a Facebook page called Where's Warren. So go check those out, and you can actually see we're posting on a regular basis where she goes when she's out of state raising money for herself.
I love it. I love it. Check it out, dealforsenate.com, DIEHL. That's dealforsenate.com. Make him the next Scott Brown, but 10 times better, because he is 10 times better. Jeff Deal, standing up for real tax reform. He's the guy you got to fight for. He's the guy that we need to send to Washington. So if you're in Massachusetts, you know who to vote for. Jeff Deal. Thank you very much, Jeff. Best of luck, and don't forget us when you're back when you're in Washington.
Thanks, Vito. Look forward to talking again. Take care.
Thanks, pal.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. Separated. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org, brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show with a very special interview from a very special person. He's going to teach us a lot. He's going to teach us about a whole host of things that maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't. But I want to know if anybody's heard of the North American Analytical LLC. It's a cannabis testing laboratory. It's veteran-owned and operated. It's based out of California,
right.
And he's a Trump guy. Let me welcome Steven to the show. Steven, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much, Vito. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, it's great to have you on. Steven, tell us, first of all, what this is, and then tell us what your role is in the organization.
Well, what this is my business is North American Analytical, is a cannabis testing lab. You know, and cannabis has been legally sold in California for the last 20 years. A lot of people don't know that as medicinal. But in January, it's going to go on a recreational scale, and they set the bar very high for cannabis testing. So we're going to have to test for cannabinoids. Cannabinoids are THC, CBD, THC alpha, delta 8, delta 9, different compounds that you have within the product itself. So you're going to have to test cannabinoids, terpene, residual solvents, which you're going to have as a byproduct of processing cannabis into one of the many byproducts that they're making now, because it's no longer just weed, okay? And then, of course, we're going to have to do microbial testing and pesticide testing, plus moisture control, because the state of California is going to be very, very serious. They're going to treat cannabis testing just like a pharmaceutical FDA lab.
Well, I mean, so you guys test what do you test cannabis for? I mean, for recreational use? Is it for medical use? What is it for exactly?
When the lab tests it, we make no distinction between recreational or medical use. We test cannabis. Mm-hmm. We're going to tell you what compounds are in there and how much, i.e. THC delta 9, which is the psychoactive element of the cannabis. We'll tell you what the percentage is for that. CBD, which you know the CBD aspect of cannabis is what epileptic children look for to quell their seizures. Okay? Normally a cannabis plant has less than 2% CBD, but some strains can go as high as 15%. So you want those tested so that you know what compounds in the cannabis plant are going to work for you. And trust me, there's a wide variety of them.
So this seems to stretch across the board, Stephen. And it seems to stretch no matter where we go over what this testing facility can do. And your role is business operations, so I'm curious to know what exactly will help grow marijuana in the United States. Like, what would give people that opportunity to explore?
Let me give you a synopsis, if I can, of California, because you see, California and New York dominate a lot of attention, but people don't really understand these states. New York is driven many times by Manhattan, Brooklyn, what's happening right there on the island, whereas California is dominated by Los Angeles and San Francisco. Well, I'm currently in the Central Valley, which is, if you went to California, saw the San Joaquin Valley, California 99, that's where I'm going to be staking out my business. These counties in California are at 50% welfare across the board because they're starving for new economics. And I'm going to tell you what, if the local community governments don't recognize that they need a testing lab, and the reason they need a testing lab is they need that point of sale in their county so they can collect the tax revenue. And if they're going to allow Los Angeles Basin and San Francisco to collect all the tax revenue, Central Valley, California will never realize the opportunities they have, and there's huge opportunities. So California's going to, whatever you see Colorado doing, just times that by 7, because that's how much bigger California is.
I'm curious to know, because now there's so much in the way of just legalization of marijuana, both at the medical and recreational level. I mean, I don't partake in marijuana, but there are tons of people that do. And I think, as any Republican kind of can say, where do they stand? Where does the government stand in allowing the access to marijuana, both medically and recreationally? The federal government, because we all know states have some sway here, look at Colorado, for example. But what about the federal government? I mean, Cory Booker apparently, and I can't stand Cory Booker, but apparently he wants to push for marijuana legalization. So explain to me where the federal government is in your way, because I think there's a big misconception when we talk about the legalization of drugs or the legalization of marijuana, should I say, the legalization of pot, and what the federal government, how it limits that business to grow.
Well, right now it's limited because of the scheduling of cannabis on the what is it? It's the Drug Act. And because of that, they prohibit finances in cannabis. So where you get your hands tied if you're going into a cannabis business is you're not going to be able to use traditional financing, and you won't get many tax write-offs from other places.
Well, what is hold on? What is traditional financing?
Traditional finances, for instance, I have a laboratory. I would like to have a new liquid crystal mass spec, which costs about $800,000. For me to be able to get that piece of equipment, I have to find private investors. Whereas if I had traditional finance, me as a veteran, particularly a 20-year veteran, I should be able to go get a small business administration loan with veteran preferences and be able to buy that equipment. But because I'm in the cannabis industry, I'm prohibited from using any kind of finances for cannabis.
So then how does... So how do you guys make money?
We need Cory Booker and those to get up and do their job. We know this Democratic and GOP contest between, ACA and everything is one thing. But we've already gotten over 50% of the United States that has overwhelmingly supported the legalization of cannabis in one form or another, be it medical or recreational. So therefore, they should reschedule cannabis so those citizens that are in the industries can take full advantage of all the different tax breaks for a normal business and or finance. And finance is the biggest problem in Canada. There's also, they can violate your constitutional rights with cannabis. Because you see, cannabis is illegal federally as long as it's still scheduled as a Schedule 1, which means that it has no medicinal value and that it's a dangerous narcotic. Well, I, as a lab owner, can tell you, at least from our scientific vantage point, it is not it has scientific medical value. But we don't have that official research done to be able to validate that to the scientific community.
I mean, there's a whole host of issues here that I didn't even know was such a problem. I knew the cannabis industry.
No, and they're huge problems.
Yeah, from what I hear, they're absolutely huge problems, and it's not fair to a business where it's legal in one state not to do business because the federal government is in the way. I mean, how has the Trump administration helped? You support Trump, Stephen, so how does you're probably the only guy in California that supports Trump. But how does Trump help the cannabis industry if he does at all?
Well, there's a lot to that question right there, because you see, if you support our president, which I hope you do,
of course,
Trump is a pro-businessman. He's economics. When he's going to bring in to revitalize and rebuild our infrastructures, when you come out here and you do work on California 99 through Trump's initiative of making America great again, that money is going to trickle down into everything, okay? So it's going to be felt. And it's going to be a marvelous thing because people are going to be getting back to work soon. I know that me personally, for Trump, it's like he's very unpopular in California because of the immigration stance. But for me, he's very popular because of his immigration stance. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, actually the San Jose area. And I spent 20 years in the military, and while I was gone doing Navy things, Bill Clinton gave the country away to H-1B visas. And then people came in and displaced all the natural citizens. So Trump is going to reverse all that. And so I already see it starting here in California. And they're screaming because I live in the Central Valley, which is the agricultural area, and this is harvest season. And the amount of people that are out this year as compared to previous years for the labor force of harvesting is way, way down, but that's going to change.
Wow.
Trump did say that he supported medicinal cannabis. But I can understand President Trump's vantage point, knowing that his personal history with his brother being dependent on alcohol and a controversy on whether cannabis is an addictive property or not with a gateway drug. You know, it's always one of those things. It comes down to the individual. Because you get some individuals that are addicted to powdered sugar, okay, cigarettes, coffee. When people say that cannabis is not an addictive quality, what they're really talking about is there's not anything that's going to put your body into convulsions and withdrawals when you come off of cannabis. But I do think that there are some addictive natures to the product. So President Trump's going to be on the fence for a while on it. Where the guy that's not going to be on the fence is Jeff Sessions. And, you know, his message was, well, you tell those Cory Bookers and Dianne Feinsteins and all those that are completely dysfunctional, go write a bill. You've got a state that now is recreationally cannabis, and you're doing nothing to protect the people. Mm-hmm. So they shouldn't make this a Trump issue. Trump in turn is making it a state issue. You guys want to do this? It's for the people. And we need to start getting back to that message of for the people. So, and Vito, I'm going to tell you, I could get on my soapbox there and give you a God and country speech, but
I mean, you're right.
You're
not wrong at all, Stephen. You're actually right in the ballpark.
I mean, our focus right now in our country is not on what it should be. The focus is on the Affordable Care Act. Mm-hmm. And Vito, I don't know too much about you guys. I think you're great guys from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. But you see, it used to be in our country that we got our affordable care through employment. Mm-hmm. Okay, you go get a job, you got health care, you live happily ever after. But you see, when they gave all of our jobs away, right, that changed everything. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, bringing them back, it's more than just a 200-day policy. And when you have all these people creating distractions, including Mitch McConnell and our rhino Speaker of the House, okay, you know, these guys are dysfunctional. They're making Congress dysfunctional. They need to go do something, okay? So ACA is a distraction with the Russians and all that. They should be solving this cannabis issue right alongside the immigration issue and then taxes.
Yeah,
because those three issues are the major issues of our country, I believe.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think you're right about that. I think there's a great opportunity here that I think a lot of people are missing. What do you say to the people that say marijuana is a gateway drug, it's addictive, we shouldn't even allow these testing things? It's only going to cause more harm than it is going to cause good. What if it's, we look at the opioid epidemic in this country, it's completely out of control. What do we say to that?
I've used cannabis. You know, I'm not a huge user of it, but I've used it. For what I use it for, it works great. I use it medicinally. It's very much of a stress reliever. I don't find any addictive qualities. But you see, I don't drink either. Okay? I mean, if I drink alcohol, I'll feel sick for days. So my alternative, I'd much rather go have partake in a little bit of cannabis consumption than alcohol consumption, because alcohol will make me feel sick for days. And it all comes down to the individual, because we know there are some people highly susceptible to alcohol abuse, okay? Mm-hmm. Whereas another person, it never affects them. So really, the United States government owes it to the people to conduct the research. Because right now, there is no evidence to suggest that marijuana is a gateway drug. It has, I believe personally, that it does have some habit-forming qualities, but not addictive. And the difference is withdrawal syndromes. You know, there's no withdrawal syndromes from cannabis. But those people who live a habit or addictive lifestyle, they need substance of one sort or another, be it coffee, tea, or milk, don't know, okay? They're going to abuse something all the time. But I'll tell you this, Vito, and if you pay attention, and I think you do, whenever you go to a party, if there's a bunch of pot smokers, there's nobody out in the street acting wild and stupid. But if you go to the same party and they're drinking beer, my God, someone's going to be bringing the police to the party real quick. Yeah, so just examine those, and those are things that the average, ordinary person can actually observe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a libertarian.
I don't believe.
Yeah, when it comes down to this, I'm a libertarian. I'm a believer that people should be left alone. They should be able to do what they want. I think the war on drugs is an absolute failure, and I think marijuana is unfortunately stigmatized, and people go after
the war on drugs had a hidden agenda.
Yes, it did. Yes,
okay?
it did. Mm-hmm.
And whatever that agenda was, because we could spend days just arguing about what was that agenda, okay? And nobody will ever really know for a fact. In fact, it was a different agenda for the different groups of people that supported it, okay? Right. So, but I know this, is that I spent 20 years in the U.S. Navy so that you could be free, okay? So that you could be free and you could get up and do what you wanted to every day without me imposing my values on you. Because I believe this, if what I do every day does not bother you, then I should be free to do it, okay? Right. So now there will be people that say that things bother them about cannabis, but that's only because they want it to. Yeah. Your question, sir?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's such a fascinating topic because we don't really know, I guess, the effects. I mean, we've heard a lot, and I'm sure there are studies that point that pot is a gateway drug, but there are also studies that point that pot is not a gateway drug, and I see more of that now. I've been reading more and more about that. That pot isn't as crazy as people make it out to be.
No.
So
they need to still villainize cannabis. As a matter of fact, just the name pot, weed, marijuana are all names that villainize cannabis. Cannabis is the scientific name for it. It's more accurate, and it doesn't really villainize it. But if you take a look at cannabis, there's nothing in it that, if you went and tried it one time, as a matter of fact, if you only tried it one time, I think it would have zero effect on you. And you cannot eat cannabis and get high. A lot of people think you can do that, okay? You cannot. You have to heat cannabis to a certain temperature to decarboxylate the trichomes that are inside the product so that it'll have that psychoactive effect, which is another reason why you need a lab. Because when you send your edibles in to be tested, you might have a lot of cannabis in the product, but maybe it doesn't do anything, okay, because they didn't do the processes right. So there's a lot of things to do with cannabis, and we need our government to get on board with the people, because if over 50% of the people in the United States are in favor, they should start listening. Remember, these polls that say our president is only 36% favorable, which I think is malarkey. I think he's probably more in the 70 area, because even here in California, where you heard everything was about criminal Hillary, not in my circle. My circle are all very, very Trump positive people, and you people in New York, please understand California is going to turn GOP again.
I mean, I hope so.
I'll do it.
I certainly hope so. Anyway, Stephen, we appreciate you for coming on the Vito and Vito show. Tell us more we can find out about North American Analytical. How can we if we wanted to help, how do we help this legalization of marijuana for recreational and medical use?
I'm going to tell you what. You go to your... Hey, Vito, do you know how many states are legal for cannabis right now?
Off the top of my head, no.
I think there's 20... I know there's 23 legal medical marijuana states. Mm-hmm. And out of that 23, 8 are fully legal, plus Washington, D.C. So that's a significant amount. And if you take the population of those states, California being 40 million, we're talking about probably half the population of the United States. So contact your congressional representatives and first tell them, get in, do your job, quit being dysfunctional. Even if you do something wrong, do something, okay? Because I think the American people are really getting tired of complete dysfunction in Washington, D.C. So...
Stephen, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks for coming on, and we hope to have you back sometime if we see any developments.
Hey, anytime. You know, I'm here for you guys. Keep the message of the GOP going strong.
That's right. It's all about choice, and it's about liberty. Let's not forget.
Yes.
And that's what the party's about. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, bye-bye.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, and son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org, brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
That was some great interviews, Vito, wasn't it?
I always love the interviews that I get for the show.
Don't you just? You gotta love them. And I love the interviews that I do for the show. So we had a great lot of fun there. Anyway, if you look this past week, there was a shooting in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about this because this is absolutely out of control. We don't know anything about this guy. We don't know if it was Islamic extremism. We don't know if this guy was an anti-Trump supporter. We don't know what the deal is with this guy. But supposedly, all we found out is that this guy went AWOL and started shooting a bunch of innocent people at a country music concert in Las Vegas. I'm not going to get into the details. Everyone knows about it. It's an unfortunate situation. But my question is directed toward the left. Why do they have to attack Republicans and Trump supporters and the gun control crowd? They are absolutely out of control. From Jimmy Kimmel all the way down, everybody has been attacking that's on the left. Anybody who was a Trump supporter blaming us. I think there was a CBS executive who got fired because she put on Facebook that she's happy, that she has no remorse, that these people died because they're all probably Trump supporters. They're overgeneralizing.
How crazy is that?
It's disgusting. It's what it is. It's absolutely disgusting.
That's a divided country, and that's not because of Trump.
It's not. Trump is not. He's not enabling this division. The division is being enabled by the radical leftists.
That's like saying that if somebody draws Muhammad, you'll go kill them. It doesn't matter if they drew it or not. You shouldn't go after them. It doesn't matter Trump is president. You shouldn't be acting like this.
No, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. It's ridiculous.
What did the conservatives and Republicans do when Obama was president? Huh? Or even the conservatives when Bush was president? Or when Bill Clinton?
You know what's crazy? That I remember when the mass shootings happened under Obama. So take like Aurora, or take Newtown, or take any of the mass shootings. I don't remember conservatives getting up making a big deal and blaming leftists.
It was still the Republicans' fault because we had the support of the NRA and the Second Amendment.
This is ridiculous.
But here's the thing. Those assault rifles used in Las Vegas shooting were illegal.
Well,
I heard massively illegal.
We don't know if they were. First of all, the guns he had, there's this thing now that Congress is trying to do with Dianne Feinstein, of course, the biggest anti-gun nut in the world. She's coming out and she's trying to ban bump stocks that mimic. They are devices that attach to semi-automatic weapons, and they mimic a fully automatic weapon.
Right.
Let's clear the record. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. I don't think any of our audience really needs to know that, because, well, they do know that. They don't have to repeat that, rather. So they want to put on these bump stocks on these guns, and they mimic a fully automatic weapon. There's an article on Breitbart News. You go check it out by A.W.R. Hawkins. He talks about what a bump stock is, because now everyone wants to ban bump stocks. And they're
that's the problem.
They're an accessory. That's what it is. It's an accessory. You put this thing on a semi-automatic weapon, and it mimics a fully automatic weapon. The thing is, it doesn't really turn it into a fully automatic weapon. What it does is it takes the semi-automatic, and it increases the burst.
It's a mod.
So, yeah, it's a modification. And there's millions upon millions of ways to change your gun from a semi-automatic to mimic a fully automatic weapon. So it's unfair to blame bump stocks and then blaming bump stocks as the reason as to why this happened.
There has to be a reason. That's what the left keeps going. There has to be somebody's fault.
And I don't understand why we have to attribute blame to an accessory to a weapon. I don't understand.
Because the NRA didn't ban everything that could kill a person.
Well, it's not the NRA's responsibility, number one. And number two, if you look at bump stocks, they were approved by the Obama administration's ATF agency back during his presidency. So if you're going to take out blame, I don't know why they're going after Republicans. They should be going after the ATF. Because leftists are making this big claim from Michael Moore all the way down, from Cher and the rest of them, Jimmy Kimmel, that it's the Republicans' fault. The NRA, they listen to the lobbyists. They don't listen. Hillary Clinton is running around talking about silencers, banning. I don't know what the hell. If you look at what a silencer does, a silencer, I think the decibels when you shoot a weapon, especially in a semi-automatic rifle, it's like 150 decibels, 140 to 150 decibels.
Okay.
A silencer doesn't it's not like the movies where you go down to
like James Bond.
Yeah, it's not like that. A silencer maybe breaks it down to maybe 110, 100 decibels. It's still damaging enough to the ear. So a silencer isn't what they think it is. But the leftists are blaming silencers. So they're going to find things to blame, just as they do with healthcare. They're going to use things, they're going to use these situations, and they're going to try to push a narrative, and they're going to push reform on their side of the aisle. It's unfair. Republicans are willing now to cave on this bump stock thing, which is ridiculous because there are other things that could be made. There are other tools and modifications that you can make, other accessories you could add to your semi-automatic weapon to make it a fully automatic weapon. So going after one thing or a combination of things isn't going to do anything, especially people who are well-versed in guns or experts in the area and who could actually change those weapons to fit the specifications. Fully automatic weapons, by the way, have been illegal since 1986 under Ronald Reagan because they're illegal.
Under the Republican?
Under the Republican Ronald Reagan. Thank you. The Gipper. It's done. There's no more. You cannot buy a fully automatic weapon. Any person that has a fully automatic weapon only got it because it was dated from 1986 prior. If you happen to, they still make them, obviously, fully automatic weapons. But if you were to get one, you have to go through such an extensive process, incredibly expensive. There's a totally different license for it. And the federal government, the ATF, can come down and they can search your home anytime they want to make sure that gun is in the right spot.
Doesn't the military not even use fully automatic?
It depends. I mean, you gotta look
I heard that usually our military doesn't even. That's how, highly illegal.
I mean, you can get
one.
That's
not even the point.
Difficult.
This guy had, a dozen guns? He was bringing guns into the hotel in golf bags.
It's crazy.
It was crazy. He set a post. This was like the JFK shooting.
Right.
Right? He had it all planned out in cameras. This was a crazy guy. This guy had a plan for a while for this.
The crazy thing is that we don't know what his motive is. So I don't know what this guy
I know. And then you see everything coming out on the internet, theories and this and that. I don't know if you saw the article, but I didn't even read it because there's so many. That one of the titles was that his girlfriend apparently used to lie in bed and screaming. I don't know what that means.
I want to read some of those things because those make me funny. I seen one of them. They said that he had the vagina hat on. I'm not gonna say the other word. I don't know if I can get fined for it, so I'm not gonna say it. But you know what I mean. That he was a protester at the women's march, and he had that stupid vagina hat on, that pink hat, and he was
like the Nancy Pelosi hat.
Yeah, that Nancy Pelosi face-looking hat. So he had that thing on his head, and supposedly he was an anti-Trump supporter. I don't know. We don't know the facts yet.
It's impossible because only white racist Trump supporters do mass shootings.
It's stupid. ISIS claimed responsibility,
of course,
for the situation. Now the question is ISIS going to be targeted? Are they going to be investigating? The government said that ISIS has nothing to do with this. There's no linkage.
We don't know.
But I don't think we know yet, and we still got, the motive is hard to find this guy. He could just be some wacko who just collected all these guns, opened up the window, shot the window, broke it open, whatever he did at Mandalay Bay, and just started shooting people because he was nuts. He had a gambling habit. We don't know his motive. So I'm not going to jump to the gun here. I'm not going to say I think it's this because I don't know.
And we can't jump and say it wasn't ISIS either.
Yeah, you can't say that. And I think
ISIS took responsibility, but they're probably going to try to jump on every opportunity they could.
If you look at some of the tweets and you look at some of these articles, it's absurd. I mean, CNN put out something. I'm paraphrasing the article. I don't want to look it up because it's so disgusting. But it was like the U.S. is enabling or we're letting go of white male shooters. Like, I mean, this is ridiculous. It is blatant racism on the side of the left when they go after white straight men. I told you they're under attack in this country. I told you it's okay to be racist against a white guy in this country. It's okay to be anti-straight, and it's not right. If you're going to be inclusive and accept everybody, that's fine. But accept everybody and don't defeat your own logic by blaming white people for something like this. It's nothing but racism. I've seen tweets that said from black activists, like Black Lives Matter or whatever, the activists within the group. Some of them are saying that it's a good thing that they're all country fans because they're white and they're going to die. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd and racist. The more and more these people continue to come out and they continue to blast country music, Republicans, whatever. It doesn't matter. There are over 50 people that are dead as a result of this shooting, and all the left can do is laugh about it, and it's disgusting. It's inherent, and you look at
they get to sit back and just yell, "Oh, ban this, ban that."
Look at the elites. The elites are talking about bump stocks as if they know. They don't have a clue what a bump stock was prior to the situation. If you ask the average liberal on the street what a bump stock is that goes on a weapon, they're not going to know a damn thing. If you ask them 2 weeks ago what a bump stock was, they're not going to know. Especially if you ask them what's the difference between a semi-automatic and a fully automatic weapon. They don't have a damn clue what they're talking about. But here they come. The elites are going to come and pretend they know more than the law-abiding gun owners of this country, and they're going to tell us what to do. They're going to tell us what is acceptable. They're going to tell us what should happen. And it's the people on the coast that are not fair to the law-abiding Americans within the country, and it's not fair to the Constitution itself.
People don't understand that you can't stop crazy.
This was completely unpreventable.
If people are crazy and they want to do something, they probably will.
This was completely unpreventable.
Honestly, how can you stop somebody? If you're walking to the grocery store right now, Vito, you leave after the show, you leave the basement of the Empire State Building, and you're walking down the block, and somebody comes up to you and stabs you.
Right.
Can that be prevented?
No.
No. You what, ban knives for the next guy? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Until you get stabbed by a spoon. The answer's not banning.
You can't ban things and think it's going to go away. It doesn't work. This is the biggest argument I have. I ask a lot of these liberals, when we're talking about gun debates, here's an argument you could use against a fellow liberal if you decide to go ahead and risk going over to the dark side. When you debate a liberal on this topic, ask them this question. First of all, were you against the Prohibition era? Were you against the illegality of alcohol? A lot of times they're going to say yes. Then ask them, are you against the criminalization of marijuana? Most of them are going to say we should legalize pot. So you ask any of them, they're going to be like, yeah, absolutely, we need to legalize pot and have recreational use, and then have government taxpayer-funded munchie rooms. You know what I mean? So if you ask them, if you're against prohibition, did people still drink? Yes.
Yeah, speakeasy.
If you're against marijuana, did people still smoke it?
If the law says that marijuana is illegal, are people still going to smoke it?
Yes, people still
And
break
if you
the law.
ban guns, do you think people are still going to use them?
But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
What makes banning guns so much more dangerous? If you don't want to go to a speakeasy and get a drink, you don't have to. Right? If you're a good person, right, a law-abiding citizen, you probably can't and won't get a gun.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guy will.
Right. And a lot of times people are saying, oh, as a result of the shooting, where is the good guy with the gun? Because we make that argument a lot. Good guys with the guns top the bad guy with the gun.
The cops?
No, in this situation in Vegas, where was the good guy with the gun? The guy was shooting from a window in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Out the window. So where was the good guy with the gun to stop him is the argument I hear from the left. However, this was completely unpreventable. There are situations where you cannot stop. This guy was at 30-something floors up in the Mandalay Bay shooting from across the street. So how do you stop that? This is a situation that you cannot prevent. You can maybe have more security in the hotel.
Mass shooting.
You could have more security in the hotel. I mean, you can't even blame the maids that were going in and out, because he was there for like a week. You can't even blame the maids for going in and out of the room because they said they didn't see anything. This guy was good at hiding this stuff. So, and he had a bunch of guns in there, cameras and stuff. So it was planned. They say he had help, that he might have had help. So we don't know. A lot of the times, these situations are completely unpreventable. This is completely unpreventable.
Certain things are unpreventable. Like Newtown, when they shot up the school, that's preventable because teachers and faculty should have been armed. Is Las Vegas open carry?
I'm not.
We were there.
I'm not so sure if Las Vegas itself.
We
is
were
open
there.
Carry. Nevada is open carry.
Nevada, yeah, but
parts of Nevada. I'm not so sure about Las Vegas itself.
But I don't think Las Vegas. I'm not sure.
I think I think Las Vegas is. You're not allowed to bring weaponry inside the casinos.
Okay, that's probably why we didn't see any.
Yeah, we're in the casinos all the time.
We stay there.
So you're not allowed to bring weapons inside the casinos. But nonetheless, that's kind of the point that they're trying to make here. Where was the good guy with the gun? In this situation, I don't think it could be prevented. Banning guns is not going to solve the problem because he can go get a gun somewhere else illegally and still probably do more damage than what he did currently. So I think if you're really going to make the argument, you got to find out his motive and you got to find out what he's doing. But banning guns, bump stocks, accessories, etc., is not going to do a damn thing.
It's the left's logic that I just don't get.
It's lack thereof. That's
Look, JFK was shot. Wasn't Lee Harvey using a scope? Right?
Yeah.
Why don't we ban scopes?
Right.
Why not that?
Why don't we ban everything? I mean, it's a slippery slope. You
ban everything.
You ban one thing.
What about planes? Planes, cars, 9/11. We wouldn't have this happen if
How
we
about
had
the box
planes.
cutter? Should we ban the box cutter? I mean, come on.
We should lock the cockpit door and have like a cop or a marshal in the plane.
People make shanks in jail with
people dig out of jail with their fingernails,
with toothbrushes and rocks and little pebbles and whatever they do, and they sharpen up their little instruments and they start shanking people in jail. How are you going to prevent that? What are you going to ban toothbrushes now? It's ridiculous. What are you going to do? Ban people's fingers? You're going to chop them off Hammurabi style? Look, things happen. Listen, my heart goes out to everybody. Could this have been prevented? Honestly, no, it couldn't have. There's no way to reconcile the Second Amendment with trying to stop this event. It was impossible. Now, if this guy got these guns illegally through some source, that's a separate issue. But I don't know if this could be prevented at all. Anyway, Vito and Vito, we're signing off. We'll see you next week in Brooklyn.
It's nothing but the truth.